Hello students, today we are going to learn about congestive heart failure. So in your syllabus you have treatment for congestive heart failure. So to understand the treatment, first you need to understand the pathophysiology of the disease, and then you will have to set the treatment goals, that what can be rectified so that you get results and the treatment for the disease. So let us start with the name of the disease itself or disorder itself, that is congestive heart failure. So the name has two parts. One is congestive and another is heart failure. When I say congestive, it suggests there is congestion somewhere. So this congestion, that is accumulation of fluid, occurs in cardiopulmonary region in case of congestive heart failure. Heart failure. So as the name indicates, heart is failing to do something. What is the normal function of heart? Normal function of heart is to pump blood. So this is left side of the heart. This is atrium, this is ventricle, and then these are the valves, and this is going into systemic circulation. Okay, so through atrium, fluid, that is blood, comes. The ventricle gets filled at the end of the diastole, and as soon as the diastole ends, there is systole, that is contraction phase. This red color is your myocardium, which is involved in contraction. So this myocardium during systole is going to pump this blood out. In normal human beings, whatever volume, suppose it is 100 here, approximately 50% is pushed out and it goes into systemic circulation. Because it is left ventricle, it is going to push oxygenated blood into systemic circulation. So this 50% is called as ejection fraction, fraction of volume which is contained in the ventricle at the end of the diastole. Okay, so this fraction of volume which is present in the ventricle at the end of the diastole is called as preload. This total volume is called as preload, and the fraction ejected out is called as ejection fraction or stroke volume. So this is your normal functioning of heart. So when your heart is pumping oxygenated blood out, that oxygen is going to reach to all your body systems and it is going to take part in your metabolic reactions. So till the point when the ejected blood contains enough oxygen or enough oxygenated blood is ejected out of the heart, till that time your body will not starve of oxygen. But when your heart is unable to give enough cardiac output to meet minimum metabolic need of the body, minimum metabolic need, okay, then it is said to be heart failure. So to understand in which cases the heart will fail, you have to understand which are the factors that affect cardiac output. So we go ahead. So cardiac output is equal to heart rate, that is rate at which your heart is going to pump. So this is related to frequency. So which is the term is chronotropy, into stroke volume. Okay. So this stroke volume, the volume which is ejected out with each stroke, is dependent upon three factors. One is condition of myocardium, because more it contracts, more blood will be pushed. Less it contracts, less blood will be pushed. Preload, how much is the volume, total volume contained at the end of the diastole. Okay. So imagine you have less volume to push out, less efforts, more volume to push out, more efforts. Additionally, you have more volume present here, more volume can be ejected out. It has got multiple effects. Then there is something called as afterload. Now what is afterload? To understand it, here is an example. There are two people who are going to lift various weights. If I tell this person to lift 2 kg and this person to lift 2 kg, for whom you think it is easier? For this person, maybe, right? Because his inherent weight is more. So he'll be able to lift this weight nicely, right? With less effort. This thinner person may require more efforts. So this denotes your myocardial contractility. Now, to the same person. And now I keep the person same. I tell to lift 1 kg. Okay. And then to this person only I tell to lift, I ask to lift 2 kg. Right. The effort in lifting 2 kg will be more. This is preload. Preload is the load which is already present in hand of a person. Now suppose to this same person, I now tell to lift 2 kg weight and climb 10 stairs. That person may happily climb it. But to the same person, I tell now, again lift 2 kg, but climb 100 stairs. What do you think? Will the effort increase? Of course, yes. So this indicates myocardial contractility, that is inherent capability of your heart to contract. How healthy your myocardium is. Second, this is preload, meaning how much volume is loaded in your ventricles. Based upon that also your ejection fraction will vary. And afterload. Now what is afterload? It will become more clear with this diagram. What is happening? From the start, atrium fills the ventricle. There is fluid which is called as end diastolic volume present here. Now this is preload. So your ventricle is now preloaded with some volume of blood. You go ahead, based upon your myocardial capacity, nearly 50% ejection fraction is ejected out from person's heart. Okay, if the person is normal. But if your myocardium is not normal and there is myocardial infarction, some tissue is dead here, what will happen? The contractility will be decreasing, and because the contraction is less, what will happen? Less ejection fraction will be there. Okay, so then again it is affecting cardiac output. Here, more the volume can be ejected out, but the effort to be taken by the heart will also increase. Third, now we were talking about afterload. So preload is clear, myocardial capacity. What if the walls are defective? Then also the things will be affected. And third is afterload. Afterload is very easy to understand. Your ventricles are filled with fluid. Ventricles have to pump the fluid out into systemic circulation. These are your arteries. Arteries are made up of epithelial cells and their lining contains smooth muscles. So there is a diameter, right, which is there. So imagine the diameter of the artery decreases. So fluid will have less way to go out, right? So that will exert resistance to fluid flow. So your fluid is pushed out and your arterioles or artery walls, which are fixed with smooth muscles, they are going to offer resistance. So what is going to happen? So this resistance against which your ventricles have to work, that is called as afterload. So afterload is load on the ventricles after they are filled and after they are trying to push the blood out. And this load is offered by nothing but your systemic circulation. So that is how it is called as peripheral vascular resistance. Very simple example. In case of atherosclerosis, what will happen? There will be plaque deposited here. The diameter of the blood vessel will decrease. And then the blood will have lesser way to go out. And then it will affect the ventricular capacity to eject out. So these are basic things which are required to be known. Okay. And these are basic things which will affect your cardiac output. Okay. So if I have to summarize, causes of heart failure are unhealthy myocardium, increased preload, your heart is getting more volume than required, your ventricles. So they will, of course, initially they will push more volume out. So stroke volume will increase initially, but ultimately it will cause more and more oxygen demand by myocardium itself, because myocardium has to now work more to meet or to pump that extra load out. So if continuously you have to lift the extra load and push it out, it is going to make your heart tired, in simple terms. Increased afterload. So increase peripheral resistance because of arteriosclerosis. Okay, that may happen. So if there is more and more resistance from outside blood vessel, peripheral vasculature, it is going to put your heart at stake. Severe bradycardia. What if the pumping frequency of the heart is compromised? Then what will happen? Your heart again won't be able to give the ejection volume, ejection fraction. Severe tachycardia. So wherein, what happens? What is tachycardia? What is bradycardia first? Decrease in the heart rate. Tachycardia, your heart is pumping at higher frequency. So what will happen? Atrium pushes blood in, ventricle is pushing it out, right? But this is happening at very faster rate. So what happens? There is not enough time to get it filled. So your preload will decrease a lot eventually. And with decreased preload, your ejection fraction will also be decreased. Okay. Hyperthyroidism. What is hyperthyroidism? Increased level of thyroxine in your blood. Major outcome of hyperthyroidism is increase in basic metabolic rate of the body. When increase in basic metabolic rate of the body is there, it will increase the oxygen consumption of the body. So imagine a condition wherein your heart is completely normal, but the problem is with thyroid gland. What will happen is, in normal circumstances also, your body's metabolic needs go very high. So though your heart is pumping very efficiently, what will happen is, it won't be able to meet the metabolic needs of the body. As a result, it will try to pump faster and it will go in tachycardia. Because now it is going in tachycardia, less preload, less ejection fraction, and your heart also will get tired. And that can lead to unhealthy myocardium. Okay, so this is a chain of the event. And lastly, chronic activation of sympathetic nervous system, or RAS, that is renin angiotensin aldosterone system. So if I have to talk about this, what does the sympathetic nervous system does? It is fight or flight, right? So basically it tries to stimulate the heart. So if chronically it is activated as a compensatory mechanism, what will happen? And eventually what will happen is, your heart will undergo some changes which are pathological changes and which can lead to heart failure. How? That we can discuss in our next conversations. And then role of RAS also we will discuss in our next conversations or next lectures. So with this background, what would your treatment goals? Okay. With unhealthy myocardium, would you try to increase the contractility of myocardium? Will it help? Yes, of course it will help. If I increase the contraction ability of the myocardium, my ejection fraction will go up, my cardiac output will go up. Okay. If I try to increase, okay. Now, if you remember the congestive, right? So congestive heart failure. So do I need to handle the congestion also? Yes, I do. So I can decrease the fluid volume of the body. That can be my one treatment goal. Second treatment goal, if I have to reduce peripheral vascular resistance, if I reduce this resistance, somehow I cause vasodilation of the arterioles. It will offer less resistance to the blood flow. Blood will flow efficiently through the blood vessels and the stroke volume may increase. And ultimately this will lead to increased cardiac output. So my treatment goals will be this. So now with this background in your mind, we will discuss treatment for congestive heart failure in the next video. Thank you.